Hello and welcome to Trek Wars and Fantasy. And here is my slightly delayed review of the Star Trek Picard second series episode 2 of 1, which may end up giving a bit of a slight spoiler in its name, but you've had plenty of time to watch the episode now. And can I introduce somebody I've had on the show previously? Uh, Oh, actually, on the screen, it's down there. Ed.
I'm here. Hello,
So,
Ben. Thanks for
hello.
having me back.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming back. I'm glad you had some time to appear again, and yeah, I could go on all say welcome all so many times, but let's go straight into the what we're here to do.
Yes.
So, review Star Trek Picard. So, I found the intro quite fascinated. I literally wrote in my notes WTF at the beginning. It's like you saw Picard there, nosebleed on the floor, everybody rushing around him. It was just like I know it's a common trope, but it was got me into it, going, okay, what's happened? Uh,
Yes. It's an absolute classic. TV makers. We needed to pay attention. So here's something shocking. Just in the first, we haven't even started the intro yet. Haven't even started the music. Titles haven't rolled, and your main character is flat on his back with blood coming out of him.
yeah, no. Oh, yeah, definitely. We'll get probably more into that in a minute, or in a few minutes. Um, Again, at the moment, at the beginning, Girardi managed to impress me again, even though she didn't manage to impress the Queen with her good works. I found that funny. It was like she's looking at the Borg Queen for approval. It's like subtle humour. Seems very Girardi, but made me giggle.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, any impressions on the what I'm calling the Ocean's 11 episode or scene of Star Trek?
Yeah, this is basically, from my point of view, it's like part two of a classic heist story, isn't
Yeah,
it? It's almost like Star Trek. I say Star Trek does Ocean's 11.
yeah,
Um, it was the last episode set this one up, so this is really it was sort of like although it's a continual story. Um, it's not episodic. It's part two of of the heisty bit,
yeah.
um, which is why they gave quite such an intro in, um, focusing on why they're all in tuxedos and evening dress. This
Yeah,
is this is not their normal wear for Star Trek.
yeah. Oh, very good outfits, and they all look spectacular. And it was just like, yeah, definitely, yeah, definitely all looked good. It's. I think I'll leave next bit to this, and it's the other bit. But it. Are you what are you thinking at the moment? Early impressions of the uh, Queen and Girardi. Then are you enjoying that?
I only wrote one thing down, um, with on my notes with regard to the Queen and Girardi on this one. I just wrote Caprica 6.
Oh, yes, yes. So I think this is the first time we've probably brought this up. I've suddenly forgot what the whole franchise of that's called.
Battlestar Galactica.
Galactica. Sorry,
Yes.
because they did have Caprica 6 or Caprica as a second episode, second series, didn't they, or something like that? And
Yes. Yeah. That
yeah,
was the prequel. That's that sort of 1950s look style to it. I like that as well.
yeah,
Anyway, if
yeah.
we're not careful, we'll go off on another tangent. That happens a lot.
Tangent.
Tangent. Everyone drink.
Yeah. So there we are.
Um,
Um,
so yeah, I thought that was in straight away. That's what it really felt like that. Not in a bad way as well. I
yeah,
mean, yeah, basically she's basically melded with the Ball Queen.
yeah,
So if you're gonna go be as dangerous as to meld and become part of the Ball Collective, even if you break that connection, there's always going to be a bit of them inside. I mean,
Yeah.
even I think as in First Contact, the Borg Queen says, you're always part of us, Locutus, and we're always part of you. So the hint's already there that once you're in it, even if
Yeah.
you break free, you're never really free.
Yeah. Yeah. You're part of the club forever. So,
Yes,
or the club
yes,
soda forever.
yeah.
I still don't know what a club soda is, but it's apparently
I don't Google it quickly. I think it's some sort of it's some sort of drink. It's not one I've ever ordered in a pub, but
yeah, I think it's a
around here it's just a pint, and it's either beer or cider. So,
yeah.
but yeah,
So
she's always hanging over your shoulder. And she's hanging over my shoulder as we speak now, and looking particularly sinister as she does.
yeah,
But yeah, the fact that the way that she was there and only Agnes can see her,
yeah,
it's clear that people say, is she really there? Of course she's really there.
yeah,
She's really there.
yeah, yeah. That's the thing, and I personally I do find uh or not episodes or times when people are going mad or talking to themselves, even though they're not talking to themselves. I I kind of find it uncomfortable personally, even if it is a good scene or there are good reasons behind it. It's one of those ones I have to force myself to go watch through, but
Hmm.
I think I think it has the point, and I think it done the job well with that in the scene when she was, or the scenes where she was talking to herself. Um, I'm going to skip a little bit here as we're still talking about Girardi and the Borg Queen, but the singing abilities of the Borg Queen slash Girardi and their clever way of managing to do a diversion was absolutely amazing there. I thought.
Yeah, so
I
who'd have thought the Borg would have assimilated that many good singers?
no,
Suddenly have
God,
a cracking voice.
it was just like, yeah, no, I love that that part of bits, and it, yeah,
It's interesting. It's actually interesting what you say about like mental health focused episodes. I mean, we said last time, I've actually mentioned today, but I'm speaking to a friend as well. Star Trek is always social commentary. Star Trek is always political, but there's often been within that commentary on mental health issues and of episodes based on it. Was it Future Imperfect? Kind of made it seem that Riker wondered if he was losing
oh
his mind,
yeah, that
and
one, mm,
Frame of Mind as well from Next Generation, where he thought he imprisoned in some sort of alien mental institution, um, and couldn't get out. So yeah,
yeah,
it's always been like the mind as part of the final frontier is kind of a theme that you get. We travel through space and time and through the human mind as well. Our own ability to think outside the box, which is something that Q has always been trying to indicate is part of the trial, isn't it? Our
yeah,
ability to think of things in a different way, and
yeah,
it's part of the great trial, which is what All Good Things is kind of part of as well, isn't it? Picard
yeah,
jumping between three different time zones, or is it all going on in here as part
yeah.
of Q's tests?
Master plan. You got me thinking if that's going to be relevant for this Q episode series.
I think fundamentally, I think it's all another of Q's tests. It's just another of those. How can humans adapt their minds to see through the walls of our own reality?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. And related to that, um, we have to do some now backtracking, but we're was because we're getting nearer to the end now. Was this comment? But
Mm,
Picard's speech with, uh, oh, Picard's speech was Picard. Um,
mm.
Jean Luc's was Renee there, so like getting her to uh, out of her dock spot, grey
Yeah,
area, or what's
it's
a
a sort of imposter syndrome, isn't it? She,
yeah,
she doesn't think she can do it, but
yeah,
yeah,
which
yeah, of course you can.
yeah,
you
wh-
you haven't got this far without being good at doing what you're doing.
doing yeah. I know it's not quite the same, but I know I was saying before it was just like, yeah, I know I struggle with doing these occasions, especially if it's by myself. It's it's not one of these things that I always feel comfortable with. Um, which is why I like having somebody with me, and it's like I can
Hmm.
talk to them and something like that. I know it's on a different scale, so like up there, but it's like
Yeah,
not
it
quite.
gives you
Yeah,
something to bounce off, something
yeah,
to work with.
yeah. Which actually brings me to why do you think Q is trying to put off Rene from doing this?
Well,
Anything?
they did mention, didn't they, that the in that particular time frame that the Europa mission was something that had brought humanity together, that had given some sort of hope for exploring our own solar system, and at least kept humanity within the sort of within a good place, uh, within the in that within 20 or 30 years, 40 years from that time point, the Vulcans would find or would track the first warp flight of the Phoenix and would initiate first contact, and
Yeah,
then everything would get lots better.
yeah,
So it's like it's not the first contact moment that makes that causes the bright future, but it's the spark that causes that to be well received when it
yeah,
happens.
yeah.
Because we saw with the In a Mirror Darkly intro,
Oh,
where
that was great.
in the mirror universe, the Vulcan puts his hand out to shake Cochrane's hand, and he blows him to pieces with a shotgun.
Yeah,
Um, but if humanity is not in a good place, that's what happens,
yeah,
and leads to the dark future we saw in Picard, with
yeah,
Picard executing aliens for fun and leaving
yeah,
their heads on his trophy rack. Um, so yeah, winding it back, that if Q has determined that the spark that makes that the spark that ignites that positive flame is the Europa mission, if he knows that just making sure that uh, Picard's ancestor doesn't go on it, and therefore it all fails, and people are not interested in space exploration, and therefore won't back or won't be in a position that, maybe Cochrane won't be interested in building a warp capable vehicle, so the Vulcans just ignore us for centuries,
mm,
unravels everything.
mm,
Um, Someone like Q would be. It's interesting how the supervisor mentions this godlike creature, or this god, or whoever he is. So even the old, the advanced humans who supervise the galaxy aren't actually sure what a Q is.
yeah.
Um,
Because I know they have been involved in affairs before, but obviously they don't know them. I wonder when they did come into uh, properly known to the universe,
hmm. Yeah, yeah,
if ever.
more widely now. I mean, obviously the Elorians know about the Q very well
Yeah,
in advance. I mean, we know how we keep a Q at bay.
yeah,
We do the dance from Thriller.
so,
Keeps them out. Um,
so,
the it was interesting that the supervisors seem to have their own version of a prime directive as well. Um, Especially in that you don't get in contact with that which you're protecting. You
mm,
don't talk to them. You don't meet with them. You just keep well back, and you pull the strings that keeps them safe.
yeah,
Um, and then, having told him that, Picard basically keeps her safe by physically interacting with her,
yeah,
pushing her where she needs to be in the timeline, and
yeah,
then physically saving her life by pushing her out the way of Sung's car.
yeah. Which was, yeah, no, that was a good scene, and that uh, made me. And that did feel very real to me. It was just like
Mm.
very realistic, and or not necessarily realistic. It's not car crashes are never that realistic. You do a lot more damage, but it's
It's another. I thought it
but
was another great example of another Starfleet captain being given some sort of prime directive and promptly ignoring it, or working his way around it because it's just not convenient at the moment. When we're taught
yeah,
in law that the prime directive is absolutely must be obeyed, must be done everything to uphold it, and then that if it's been brought out for an episode, it's going to get
yeah.
broken
He's
at some
probably
point.
Oh, I'm trying to remember the episode, but I'm sure it got mentioned that he's broken at least 9 times before, so he's got to be into double figures. So
Yeah,
what
exactly.
drum ahead? Yeah.
All the main character captains have broken the Prime Directive. I mean, it's only probably Archer who broke it because he was the one who suggested they should have one.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need some sort of directive while we're out here. I think was his point.
Yeah. Um, Actually, that semi brings me on to Adam Sung. Actually, while we're thinking about it, that that scene afterwards, actually. Oh, first of all, I think Q gave him a good way to get to this bit and it's into this party, um, and get him in there. And the conversation between him and Picard was really good, but I actually really enjoyed the scene afterwards with um, his daughter. Um, I nearly called her Soji, but uh, uh, I forgot her name. I've got a load of names here. Actually, the name half of the ones that they put out. Actually, I can't even. Actually, I can't even repronounce those, so I won't even bother trying. But it actually made me think how that he has got a heart and he's doing things for the right reasons. Oh, what do you think? Actually, for the right reasons, saving his children, his child. It's the wrong way about doing it, of course, and what he's done to, I presume, create his child is, in the Star Trek world, wrong. It's
We've had a lot of these sort of moral, the moral dilemma of parents that you do anything to protect your child. I mean, Data had it with his android daughter. The name has escaped me now, but yeah, Adam Sung's got it with Core is the the girl's name.
thank you.
But yeah, like, Data Core. Um,
Oh, anyway, yes.
there's lots of
How did I
links
not
like
get
that.
that?
I don't know
Yeah,
if it's spelt the same way, but it sounded like it to me.
yeah.
Um, is it La? Is it La? La?
La was the Data's daughter. Yeah,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and there's lots of that's again that's a we talk about reoccurring themes in Trek, and that's another reoccurring theme in Trek because to be honest, every generation and every 10 years, society relooks at how we deal with that moral problem, and there's a trek around to put out a story that makes you think about it in a new way. And
yeah,
how people in the 1980s and 1990s would have looked at it is maybe different to how we do in the 2020s.
yeah,
And if anything, we're a whole generation onwards. I mean, when I was watching it as a young teenager, I didn't have the same idea as I do now as a 40-year-old parent of two children. So it makes it more it hits you watching it, and it makes it all
yeah,
the better to watch it because it does make you think. Yeah, of course I'd do the same without even stopping to think about it.
yeah.
Um,
And,
so yeah, but then again, it brings you it does make you ask them all questions. What would you do that was would you do something that was illegal and immoral for the good of
yeah,
your children? And there's not many parents out there watching who wouldn't say, of course I would.
yeah. It is, and okay. I don't have any children, but I'm sure I would if I didn't do it. I would probably seriously think about it, and about doing it, and this scene actually did make me go down that line of going, yeah, this is. I feel for him. I feel for even though he's the bad guy. It makes me believe in him as a human being.
Yeah, and as a rounded character as well.
Yeah,
The writers have done a fantastic in what you've said there. The writers have done an absolutely splendid top rate job in doing that.
yeah,
They've hit all the targets.
yeah. And it also gives a little bit of backstory into the eugenics and stuff like that.
Yeah, we always hear about in backstory the eugenics wars, which is supposed to have happened, in the 1990s.
Yeah, back
Um,
when I was at school and
Yeah, I don't
Uh,
don't remember anything during my
yeah,
GCSEs, so any
yeah,
sort of massive eugenics wars. I'm sure my
yeah,
science teacher would have mentioned something.
yeah.
Um,
Maybe it was
but
too near history. I think that was it, that they didn't put it in the
I
curriculum.
was, I was probably on a geography field trip at the time,
Yeah.
halfway up a mountain in Wales, looking at glaciated valleys. But in the meantime, yeah, it's again, they're bending the Trek law to make it fit. That's fine. Of course, it's fine. And now if they're now saying that we know that the Sungs have problems with have a lot to do with
Problems.
eugenics.
Yeah.
Problems. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Sungs are always problematic,
Yeah.
and they have
Yeah.
uh, they bring forward problems into another generation of Sungs who then cause the augment problems that the Klingons suffer from.
Yeah.
So there's links there and little nods ahead to the Enterprise series as well. So it's nice
Oh.
how it's touching base with all parts of the franchise.
Yeah.
Not just not just this is next generation's sequel.
Yeah. I just want to quickly mention something because I forgot to earlier. Reference to the Enterprise series was the OV-165 that Rennie possibly is going to be in.
Oh
The ship that
yes,
she looked up at. Um, it's in the title sequence of Enterprise, Star Trek
that's
Enterprise,
it. Yeah, I thought
which
I recognised it. It's one that has the sort of the fueling pipe come away
yeah,
as it launches away, doesn't
yeah,
it?
which I just want to say, even though it's in the wrong place in this discussion, I just want to say I like that, and I like it's that add into the world.
Yes, exactly. What I thought was particularly good was that they again sort of referenced the strange Englishness of the Picards generally by she mentioned uh, she referenced the aerospike engines of it that apparently she really kicks arse with a long vowel sound.
To be honest, I didn't think that as necessarily being very English, but maybe that's because I am English and I just didn't think of it. Yeah,
I think to many of the American audience, they'll definitely it'll have made sense, but they'll have afterwards thought, oh yeah, she's English. No, she's not. She's French. No, she's not. She's a Picard,
yeah,
which means that
Picard.
she's as
Yeah,
French as they come and as English as it gets.
yeah. It's to be honest, I'm wondering what the French actually think of Picard and such like. But
Yes, he does check from the first series of Next Generation. He's very proud of his French. He's pushing the sort of I'm a French captain of this, and then by number three, he's basically wearing a bowler hat and drinking tea. The only thing he hasn't got is a sausage and egg sandwich with red sauce.
oh no, it's got to be HP sauce. So
I'm showing my Australian heritage there.
yeah. um, I don't like HP sauce so either. Oh, I don't know if you do, but I don't. Anyway, that's it. We'll get it. Tangent again.
Tangent,
Yeah,
drink.
tangent. Yep. Yeah. Um. Anyway, what's the next scene? So that's. I think the main two things we've missed out so far is one, them actually finding out what actually happened, which was being knocked over, and they ended up in the hospital there, which
Back with our favourite 21st century Dr. Ramirez's surgery, where anyone can go, even if you are an illegal immigrant to
yeah,
America at that point.
yeah,
She'll treat anyone. I mean, that's the sort of almost Hippocratic thing, isn't it?
yeah,
It doesn't matter who you are.
it's
If you're in need, she'll treat you.
yeah, and I know this probably should be for the other episode, but I know there was uh, I don't know how true this is. I've never worked for the NHS. In this country's the National Health Service, there are medical establishments, but I know in politics and stuff, it was like they go, we need to make sure people do get charged, foreigners and immigrants and stuff get charged in it, because of course we're supposed to get it for free, and they're supposed to pay for it if they come over. And it was like, I think there was discussions that people don't get asked where they which country they come from or wherever like that, or and they just let it go. If they approach them for payment, I heard they of course would take it, but if they don't, it's one of those.
Yeah,
they never really asked.
there isn't a chip and pin machine on the side of every bed.
Yeah, so it it's one of the, I know it's coming from an American perspective, but I think it still says the same. It's like even foreigners, it's like everybody should get free healthcare. Everybody
Yeah,
should get treated.
it's a social commentary again,
Yeah,
absolutely. And she's a character firmly placed in there
yeah,
to make that point, and she does it. Both the actor who plays it and the character written does it very. I mean, she's hard as nails, but
yeah,
she gets the job done. But it's because she's a doctor by vocation. This is not because it's a good paying job. It's because she wants to help people.
yeah, and I've agree, which is what I think it should be. Um, I've got a couple of things that I made on notes on here. Was one a comment that she was having with Rios was when he said, um, "We are the good guys," and it was
Yes.
good guys don't say that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, and now I'm not sure if I've got this right, but the moment he said that and she said that, like a chill ran down my spine, and the phrase Luther Sloan leapt to mind
Oh,
because I'm not certain, and the general public will correct me on this, but I have a horrid feeling that in some of the Deep Space Nine episodes with Section 31, Luther Sloan says something along the lines of, "No, we're the good guys." Now I don't know whether it's just a passing comment or something that I've heard, but it just tweaked with me. It's like, yeah, the good guys don't say that, and Sloan said it. I'm sure he did.
I'll
I'm
have to
absolutely
look
sure
this
he did.
up. I can't remember it, but I'm definitely gonna have to look that up.
Mm.
But I
But it also links into Deep Space Nine as well because remember at the end of uh, In the Pale Moonlight, which is a particularly dark episode,
and brilliant episode as well.
and probably the best episode of Trek ever that isn't Darmok. Um, the Cisco says this is an amazing victory for the good guys after he's just murdered someone and murdered a couple of people and arranged all this nasty stuff to win.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I thought that linked into that as
Ooh.
well. It's like the good guys. This is Trek. The good guys are not always the good guys.
So that's confirming that was a side thought I had in my head is they're gonna have to do something bad to win.
They often have. I mean, remember when Kirk and McCoy went back in time and they had to let Joan Collins die
Yeah. It's
because she was going to she was going to cause a massive peace movement in America that meant that America would not enter World War II and that the Third Reich would take over the world. So in doing so, they'd actually stopped her being killed by accident, caused a problem in the future. So yeah, they had to make sure that in a few days' time she does get run over by that truck, so that the timeline is restored.
yeah.
So
It's
yeah, quite often the good guys have to do bad things. It's as Spock would say, for the greater good. It's for the
yeah.
greater good.
Need to the many.
Needs of the many,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. I wasn't thinking that out loud, but I think again it was a subconscious thing that I was uh doing it. I can't remember what else going but in that similar time frame, it was like I can remember them when they were going on about Picard being stuck in his head, and them having a conversation about how to get in there. I wrote a note saying I'm glad we got back technobabble because there was some
Yes. Yes.
really
Insert techno
yeah
babble here. Roll 3D20
yeah
and
it
just
was
consult the chart.
yeah they were. I wish I had the comment there, but it for me it was just like very standout technobabble that was just like oh it's like gave me chills to that.
Yeah,
So,
it's like, and we're back into Trek
yeah,
because they've just said something that they've just made up on the spot,
yeah,
and it sounds great.
and yeah. Oh, sugar, you just got me thinking about going into people's heads. Back to Sloan,
Mm. Yes, with the
O'Brien, and yeah,
yes with the device where he can go into their mind and sort of interrogate them within their own memories.
oh, yeah. Um, but actually, that's gonna be my thing in my head now, literally, and Yeah. Excuse the pun.
Homework for next week:
Yeah.
investigate Sloane further.
It's further, yeah. Um, the dream or whatever Picard is having, it's coming more obvious that they're what seems like some sort of alien in there. In my, if
Mm.
I was
Mm.
thinking, I'm sure the person who's either dragging away his mum or with a mum, it just looked like some sort of alien to me. I was wondering what or who it is, or
Mm.
it's
To be honest, when I was watching it, I didn't really think anything along the lines of an alien, but for some, actually, to be fair, for a fraction of a second, like the idea of Riemann flashed through my head.
I was trying to remember. I got in my note. I was trying to remember the species name, and I went Romulan slave,
Yeah,
and
and so I wonder if we've both seen the same thing, and that's what we think. Because obviously, in his later life, he's very much attached to his Romulan housekeeper.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, is that because I don't know some sort of strange connection to an incident with his mother where she was kidnapped by Remans? I don't know. I mean,
mm,
really, in canon, we don't discover much about the Remans until
yeah,
the era of Praetor Shinzon. Um, I mean, up until that point, whether or not it's common knowledge or not, that's the first story that sort of really explores the
yeah,
relationship between Romulans and Remans.
yeah. And actually, thinking about that line, trying to remember who I was discussing it. I think it was with somebody
Oh,
about
Nemesis.
yeah, it was in Nemesis the film. Yeah,
Hmm.
um, about Laris and this lady who I've suddenly forgot her name in this one. I was wondering if they are actually the same person, and this lady actually uh, turns herself into a Romulan somehow in
Mm.
disguise.
Yeah, continues to watch. Yeah,
And
in another form.
yeah,
Yeah,
what's trying to
I did just sideways think there for the moment as well. If you remember that Shinzon is essentially a clone of Picard. Um, how do they get some of that DNA? Do they kidnap his mother? In it, do they
is
time travel and kidnap his mother? That's a bit out there, really. But
oh, that could be the origin of
the
him
Shinzon backstory.
backstory. Is that's how it happened.
Mm. Mm. It just seems I was just thinking that over there. It just seems a bit funny that you and me both, Betty, saw that, and I literally I was sat there thinking, Riemann. And then I didn't think about it any further. I just carried on
Yeah,
watching the rest of the episode. But when
yeah.
you mentioned that, I was like, yeah, I
Mm.
could see Riemann. That was what was firing off in here.
No, that was same here. It was just like, hmm. I reckon that's. I think that's where it's going, in my opinion. But
I would be very. I think it'd be. I'm very surprised if they don't get some sort of link into Nemesis.
yeah,
It's one of the films that they don't sort of reference a great deal, but of course it's the one that kind of brings the Picard story full circle because that's where Data and that's where his story ends
and
until we see him again in Picard's first season where Picard switches him off.
yeah, as well as Spock's story as well,
Mm.
indir- indirectly as well. Now, before I get on to my last thoughts on something, do you have any last thoughts of what what's what's happened before,
Oh, and in here
or
or
in this?
carrying on.
Oh, actually, tell you what, anything previously we've missed on the earlier most of the episode on the episode so far.
Not I can think. I mean, again, there was some. It's another tour de force by Agnes and the Borg Queen, both actors portraying them, and you can see. I think I don't know which sequence they filmed it in. If they filmed it chronologically, then you can see that they're really getting a handle on how each other work and how the
Uh,
characters work as well, which is fantastic. But I really do think that they were channeling a lot of Boltar and Caprica Six in this in the best way possible.
yeah,
Um,
and
and especially the way that the Borg Queen can like, take her over and basically grant her some of those powers. The
Yeah.
ability to just pull out the
Yeah.
restraints,
Just need that
as
little
well as
extra
just
access. Yeah.
grab Rios by the tie and drag him over at the same time was very good. But you can see that the Borg Queen is there's more Borg Queen than Agnes left in there.
Yeah. And it's as to my thoughts when they said how worse can it possibly get, and I wrote in my notes a queen and a red dress, and it was just like,
Yes.
that's how worse they can get. It was just like, oh
Yeah,
god.
actually, I mean, it's it's a Faustian bargain to begin with, but the last scene itself with the like walking off into modern day Los Angeles unchecked and with
Yeah.
no one knowing because the rest of the team are all focused on Picard. They've
Mm.
forgotten about her,
Yeah.
um, and she's basically wandering off. But one of the last scenes in Galactica is um, Caprica and Boltar walking off in modern day downtown New York, I think, or a big American city, almost sort of fading into history and fading into our own society. Again, that was another a real comparable scene there.
Yeah.
But it's that sort of it's not like it's not horror is the wrong word I'm looking for. It's that sort of thriller and suspense. It's like where's she going when she's got the world at her feet? And from our perspective, in the year 2024, she's got practically infinite power.
Yeah. It is scary, and it's like what what happens now? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Borg always have their agenda.
Yeah.
And in this case, okay, she's working with them. It suits the Borg Queen at the moment to use these humans to get out of the trouble she was in, as in about to be publicly executed by Picard as as one of the last Borg around,
Mm.
and to escape to a new timeline and start the Borg all over again. Because
Mm.
as some people kind of said, that nature of good guys, the bad guys, the Borg don't say they're the good guys. What do they say? We are the Borg. We don't say
Yeah.
we're evil. We don't say we're good. We are here. We're going to tell you what we're going to do, and it's for your own good.
Yeah.
You will be better. Well, initially they say it's going to be better. By the later seasons of Borg, they just say this is what's happening. You will be
Yeah.
assimilated, because that is their it is their basic instinct. They
Mm.
just assimilate everything to grow and that's their reproduction, isn't it? Just
Yeah.
to
It is.
take in other stuff.
Yeah.
And that's basically that's I got that sense in that red dress walking off. It was again, as I said with the Borg Queen before, it's predatory, but there's quite an undertone of sexual predatory about it. It partly by the excellent acting as well, but it's it's sinister and it's encapsulating and
Yeah.
intense and enticing at the same time.
Yeah.
Brilliantly done.
Oh, definitely. And uh, after you saying that, it's got me thinking. Wonder if she'll end up meeting the Sungs at all. And I was
Oh,
just
that's
thinking, it's like
again,
genetics and
it's another Faustian bargain, isn't it? It's like what is it? It's the Babylon 5 thing. Who are you versus what do you want? And whereas the Federation ask, who are you and what do you want to be? The Borg, it's the Borg Queen's going to say, what do you want? I can give it to you, but we know what the price will be.
yeah.
It'll be your mind and your soul.
And I don't think I can end this episode much better than those thoughts, to be honest. So it's
On some notes of absolute horror.
yeah, it's yeah. Um, I'm
So
looking
whatever
forward to
century they're in, the Borg will attempt to assimilate everything.
everything.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's what she
that
does.
says, and
Yes, yes.
yeah,
And I, for one, welcome our new
Overlord.
overlords.
2 years time, that's what we have. So,
Yes.
yeah. So
Better get myself painted green ready.
yeah, you know. All I can say is thank you again for coming on. It's been nice hearing your thoughts and stuff on this, and it's definitely given me a couple more thoughts of where this may may end up, or actually where I've got no idea where this is going to go. It's
I'm going to go watch. I'm going to go watch the episode again now because that's got me thinking about it again.
yeah. I think I'll be watching Deep Space Nine as well. Yep.
Yes.
For a
I think
couple
I
of
might need to check out Nemesis as well. I've got lots of
yeah,
homework for next week.
yeah.
Thanks for
So
that.
don't. But anyway, as I said, thank you very much, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you next week for next next episode, which I haven't looked up the title yet, but I look forward to seeing what it is. So I did come up with a catchphrase last episode, and I can't remember what it was. It was something like, "Where's the off switch? Goodbye." So there we are.